is it? I'm smoking. Alrighty. So, what the hell is this? This is a portal. State the obvious. I was talking about soft blending and animation, which is, I don't know what the hell to call it, but the basic principle is getting this thing to ripple and kind of see how it looks. And I was just playing around with these text gizmos, and I probably have too many. I was just turning them this way and that way and seeing what was happening with the rotation there to produce a sort of holographic effect. One of them, oh, it's because it only turns on when you approach here, but I was locked in the keyframe. So now you can see it on, and I have these also, pausing it, these circles coming forward, and kind of they're from the center, all from the center, shrinking to define the edge of this sphere. I just kind of aligned it like so, and I was realizing that you could overlap this in layers and layers and kind of get a, an effect that way going. A little fast to see what's going on entirely, but you do it right, it looked pretty cool. Rotate it around to make an atom kind of effect, or this itself could be an effect for a character to activate. So just for example, let's just take this dude real quick, and all these actions that are bound around this guy, this central area. Let's copy that. See how that looks just copied, by the way. See if that's doing anything. That is, that's it downwards in the microchip, so you'd have to reposition all that, but the principle stands. You could, let's see. Up there. Let's see if you can grab that all at the same time. Or is it showing? Oh, I don't. Nah, you won't be able to grab it all at the same time. If they was grouped to something, you could. So you'd have to individually grab that and reposition that instead of snapping in the microchip. But what happens when you take it all in the microchip? Sorry for the commercials here. I'm trying to play my music. I'm on YouTube, broadcasting on YouTube. I'm not playing on a playlist, so you're going to hear commercials. I'm not trying to sell anything. These the plan was just now. Snapped above it. Trying to work out our logic so that you could just snap this your puppet to the portal, so that this gadget don't just talk to your puppet. At least the best, most efficient way, so that you could just toggle a few things like friend setting and stuff. Do it with these guys, which I had more of earlier, but I had to debug some things because really just my animations. The way I'm doing it, I get a little bit impatient sometimes. It's an easy way to mess up things in keyframes. So we take all this. The wires getting in the way, as they do. You can turn off seeing the wires if you want to. Just ignore things. I just kind of have tunnel vision with what I'm looking at. People probably have a complete different way of doing this, and it's going to drive them nuts. Looking at what I'm doing. So that's taking that, at least with that, and bringing that all together. So that itself is the microchip effect with all those that kind of brings it to center. See if I can snap it on him, but then bring it through. And that could be a power-up. You could, like, have a character, like, follow the tilt of this ring here, and it could be entirely text gadget just for, like, a whirling effect or whatever. Let's see how that looks anyway. And that's pretty cool. That's some of that's still down below. Oh, it's because I have all that still. Here. So that didn't stay with me. Just scoped it in. Now it stay with me. And it's a cool little. See how that one's coming forward, kind of. You could totally go a projectile which has rings in that same manner, moving forward. This is just one effect I was playing with, just text gadgets. And of course, now that that's all in a microchip, you can use that in a plug it into a button, say square, and it's going to power that effect now. And I kind of like putting it in so it's going to power up, so it's find sound effects just to see what the monitor. Yeah, monitor keyboard has for us. This is probably too loud. Just trying to talk over it and I sound like a slurry drunkard. I swear I have not been drinking. I haven't been so good. Alright, so oh look, I can hear the effects now. Okay, so the effects, what were we doing? Energizing up, powering up. So we have dramatic effects. Whooshes, energize and activate. Sounds like what we're doing. Pound something on. Again, you can make up your own effects. Use instruments or quick record background noise or use your voice. Manipulate it, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. See, that's for like a turning off effect. It sounds like it could go either way. Phase, dissipate, phase in. Those are like turning off, disrupted. They have a negative connotation to it. That's kind of like that. Can I have like and these are one-time kind of things, and it'll have a field around it, which it'll sound around your character, because that's what the sound field of your character. So you can go 3D sound field. Now instead of playing in the whole scene, it's going to play in just in that one spot, and you can make that bigger or smaller in radius. Say if there's something else coming at you. Again, I'm just talking to people like there's actually people here in case they look back on the video. In case nobody's played, I'm kind of pretending and dreading myself to do this a little better, demonstrate, show things, talk about it as I learn. So that's going to power on with our square, I believe, now. It sounds like only the throb is playing now, so that's probably because one of those is they're both playing. But not anymore. And then, if you really wanted to, you could go in a keyframe. What's that? Power up. You want to turn that lacquer chip on, it's going to have interesting that one of them discontinues playing, which I'm sure I can mess with, but not to get too sidetracked in here. What was I just doing? Oh yes, keyframe. What the fuck? Okay. Please stop talking. No. Marker. No, let's not play that song. Alrighty. Keyframe. We're actually recording right now. Keyframe. Just made it more metallic because there's different finishes here, like shiny metal, wax, and so on and so forth. I'm going for more of a metal because a little, maybe a lighter blue. Changing the color up. And blue. I think I was on. There we go. I think that point I'm changing I was changing the hue. You can even make it flicker different colors. To find out why that isn't playing, I don't know. Again, whenever that does that, because it plays once, there's nothing saying for that to play again necessarily, but you can easily just plug in those, and you can tidy up your stuff with nodes if you want to, and keep your logic tidy. You can play activating and deactivating, like what the hell's happening behind here, why is that happening in this thing, to get back to this portal thing that was staring at you in the face. Maybe real quick. I told you I get distracted. Let's say you wanted your character to fly. Going here to physical properties. Hopefully I grabbed everything. 37. Sound right? I should count them in some time. See how many actual parts are in these guys. Move them to find out. Yeah, looks to be. Okay. So, let's see. Let me just ignore gravity on the puppet. Didn't need to do all that. But you can alter the properties as well just by grabbing at that like that. Scan it up and down, as long as you don't hit this bar, apparently, which clicks the whole thing. You can't unclick it. So don't hit that bar. That purple. Anyway, so... Oh no, I was wrong. I was in there to grab the whole thing. I'm tripping. Unless you sculpt it like this. Or you sculpt. Yeah, so that was the properties I was looking back at, because there is no gravity. The gravity is on the sculpts themselves, and I knew that. And that's why that was for the whole, like, the puppet itself. Whereas these individual things are the sculpt. 37, we counted it, we know now, 37. Hey, knock it off. So grabbing all that, why do we do that? Because we want to, like, let's do a different keyframe in case we mess things up too much. Don't have to, can keep the same keyframe, keep everything in the same action you like it, it could be all in the same one little thing you want. You can also do animations, this is just one keyframe, put those keyframes in timeline and make something cool happen, make them raise his arms or whatever you want to do, but turn that on, gravity, ignore, so that's going to power on, hopefully. No. No, that's not doing that. That's not doing it. I mean, I use movers and stuff typically for suppliers, but I was just curious about doing it that way. sure if I have before. It's hard to tell what I've experimented with because I get a lot of kicks out of just experimenting and then knowing I can get something to work, and then having all these projects in my brain and not being able to fixate on one necessarily because, I have stupid ideas about more educational tools that I'm only half serious about them, I mean, I'm serious, but, within reason. Not that we have all the time in the world in our lives to commit to such things. And this is all good for concepts. So, I could see that ignoring the gravity was not hanging out well for my whole thing there. I don't know why. It matters how dense I am if I'm ignoring gravity. I mean, it doesn't seem to factor into it logically. I'm feeling pretty dense right now. But that would make me like banging and stuff. Like basically density is like I'm heavy, I have more mass. It's not really, mass does affect gravity, doesn't it? But you're turning off gravity and saying it has zero. I overthink things. I'm probably just confusing myself. E equals mc squared. What? So we were getting silly with that, and now it's going to be all wonkety-doo when I smack into things and bounce off of it. That's also kind of fun too, so we can play with the, make them all. Like regular rubber. Squashy. Got some bounce. Less friction. Want it to be able to be controllable. Zero friction, meaning it's just going to slide and you're not going to have very good control over it. Oh, I went into my portal. And it's going to toss me out. That's what that does. And it's not looking like a very good effect right now because I stopped with my experimentation of what I was calling soft blend sculpting. And what I mean by that is, like in a face animation. You might have something, you might have a puppet like this, okay, for instance, in just different ways. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways of animating things, even in 2D, just like pixel art, and this is just one method of doing it. But you say flapjaw, like your South Park characters kind of action. Crop. So let's give them a little flapjaw. Sometimes I confuse crop with cutout. That's what I really mean. This is what confuses me sometimes. It's specific. I don't get this all the time though. It's like not what I meant to do at all. Like, what is the field of this thing? Doesn't really make sense to me. Even though I've done this several times, it's kind of like cutting out is what I want, because I want a shape to cut out of here. And it's taking the whole thing and just I don't understand what's happening there. Now, I've used this tool several times, and I don't have the issues that I'm having right now. Sometimes it's just because I haven't used something in a while, and I'm just not remembering how to use it right. Which is irritating. Sometimes things actually glitch off their the way how they're supposed to operate. Your axes get weird and stuff. Let's see if that has something to do with my guides going on. What I can see, I don't see why it would. It's not even the correct guide. Oh goodness. Tools. Wrong way. That is the mode I was in. This is the right mode. I feel so silly right now. That's doing just fine, ain't it? It's like yeah, it's doing fine. Let's go back to sphere, because saving that sphere. Looks like it's doing more like I wanted it to do. So I don't know if that was a. And that was much easier, but I do indeed want the other tool, which was cut out. So now we're back to. That's a ridiculous flap jaw right there. That would be like a beaker flap jaw. I'm not doing this right. I swear I have done this before. So you got connectors and things, like this is going to be completely loose from this puppet. Matter of fact, since it's movable, it's going to fall off. Where the hell did my jaw go? You know. Well, get in the boat. Get in the boat. See, that one's pink. Let's go back. It doesn't like it. Make sure that you're going from origin to assertion. So this is going to bind that. So this is going to hang on that. can change the connectors. We're on piston for some reason right there because we're silly, which would make our movement up and down automatically in a piston motion. In this case, we're wanting to direct the orientation of our bolt, and so that it's like a bolt, like, you know, like a mannequin, so it can move in this orientation. Did I do it on that side too? Is that a piston? Not a ball joint. Ball joint, excuse me. We do have these points. These joints, these points in your body. These points and these joints in your body. Too, and like sockets in your body, like they're, you know, are literally called ball joints. Like your greater trochanter, the tip of that, it's like a ball. Your hip. It's probably thinking about a similar or easier one to think of, but flappity flap flap. See how it goes completely around, range of motion. Well, we can click on these both. I'm not very good with keeping these straight, by the way. I mean, there's a way to keep this all nice and tidy, and people are really good with them. You can use your limiters, and so constrict that zone so that it only rotates from that point, say like the neck, you see. And the same over here. And it should do what we want it to in terms of flappings. See how it's not going completely around. We can bring that a little bit more forward so it's not going so far into the neck. Because we want this a really, you know, smooth, flap jaw, articulate, as fancy as this is. Jesus Christ looks like me. Jesus Christ. Well, yeah. Yeah, he's doing typo negative right now. And that's how you could aminate. Amylate. Flapjaw. You'll forgive me, I've been babbling at myself, so it don't matter. No, there was a person in here. Was for a minute. Alright, so what are we doing? Just getting lost and stuff, because why not? Shape that. Stop, blend it. It kind of looks like a light. It's coming at you, I guess. We got all left on the soft blend. Or you could take the one that, and clone it like that, and try to arc it, it only wants to go straight, these guys. You can't. Yeah, you can. Inside. Now you want to go back. Ooh, it can be hard to control a little bit. That inside the sculpt for some reason. Yeah, done messed it up and got it out of alignment. But yeah, you can save on arc it right. You can do that. It's hard to turn back at this point, at this angle, and I don't know, maybe I have my guides on again. Exact. Yeah, that was it. So what if you can? Of course you can. That doesn't make any sense at all. Low than the dead. Not quite. So you can drag these out. You can drag these out, and then, if you wanted to, you can stretch it out. But, you know, I'd want that the more up into, and I guess you'd have to flip it to make it more. You can see what enchanted do, but or perhaps not. Let's use a different shape. Black number 1. If you wanted to, we can. I don't know why I would want to. I could. Spinning. Yeah, listen to my commercials because I don't have the hand to turn it off. Oh gosh, I didn't want to turn it off. Stop now. Yes, I have to console this issue. Apologies. Let's see, what do we want to go to? Alright, alright. This is more something I'm doing that would be better probably in spray paint. I was just kind of playing around with. Or not, it's just looking pretty alright. Sometimes it's fun to experiment, see what you can, invert, cut into the shapes. I didn't intend to, go this direction with them, but it's part of the fun of sculpting, and this is like clay, you're cutting into it. It's very much what the whole theme is about, modeling with this voxel clay. I love the soft blend. I love the way it just kind of merges with itself in the shapes and contours which was the whole intention of this whole video to begin with that soft blend animation, which I have yet to explain what the hell that means. In essence, I could show you what it means and describe it real quickly. So the idea being that, isn't that kind of cool though? Let's go back to that. It's talking about, we're not done with it yet, but here's his frickin' mouth now. And give him a little bit of a... Well, you don't have to use a shape. Use a sphere. Go back up and do your... Oops, what did I just do? What did I just do? Made a really big sphere is what I did. Yeah, I find that is... Ooh, it's like mushy. It's just like clay. Scoop. Scoop. And designers of all kinds. It'd be great when 3D printing, if such a thing were possible, would be awesome. To model your clothes. You can do that. would like to see this more in a waxy look. Just the head part for now. Excuse me. I'm going to need to wet my whistle. Starting to get that dehydrated. Mackiness telling me, you know what? You're dehydrated. Because I do drink a lot of coffee. Waxiness up. Waxiness is going to catch the light a little differently and kind of give it a more of a, it's not translucent, but more of a plasticky kind of a glow to it, you know. There's roughness and then shininess, and we want that shiny. And also have different ways of doing such with that tool I think I used earlier. More on metal now. Getting a shiny wax. We've already turned up all our, as much as it can go, so that's the reason why I was doing that, but you can bring it down to these other kind of like fixed settings. See? But we were pretty much there. That way we done's it. They're kind of like little quick tools, whereas the other thing I was using was like a setting. You like it? It's fun, huh? You give them a little tongue coming out. Am I going to demonstrate the soft blending thing or what? We can make that jaw loose. You know, I don't know what in goodness gracious is going on there. That's kind of neat. Alright. Interesting. I like it. Dude, that works. What the? That works out perfect for my freaking. What the? Look, see? Happy accident. I don't know what caused that particular effect to happen, but instead of triggering this whole thing by. That was cool. There's that keyframe doing nothing. I didn't do anything with that keyframe. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, instead of that being powered by my... I'll do the same thing instead of turning it all off. I'll enable it with my portal here just to see what that looks like doing my stuff. My zone is going to activate that microchip, and I want to see what's going on here. Okay. Did not do because I think that was cool. I mean, the way that goes in. That tag, though, was following that tag. Let's see. X-ray. kind of a little bit weird the way I did this. I'm not going to be doing it this way when I finalize such a thing. Should I finalize it? Again, these are just ideas. It just kind of snowballed. Weird tag portal. I need to put more central inside. See what that do. Ah, that was pretty cool. I didn't mean for that to happen. It was an accident. I don't know why we gave this guy a flappy mouth. I went off in flappy mouth because nobody asked that question, and he just decided to do that. Hi, I have a flappy mouth now. It makes no sense to this. It has nothing to do with what the hell I'm doing. But I can do that now, which I don't know why. He shrank and did that into the ground. I could figure that out, but I just decided that was cool. Excuse me. And decided to make that happen into my portal. Because that was pretty cool. I could take away that. See, I had one plasma element to this portal that I was going to maybe try. But then the soft blending, this part to it, this, excuse me. Let's turn all this off real quick. Alright. Just for distraction purposes, but I do want to keep these on because these are my inner rings. That is distracting though for the moment. Oops. Alright. Do that again. Okay, so you can see what this is. Now what I mean by a soft blend animation of a sculpt. Now this is only, I believe, 4 frames. So what I'm saying is animation is all about frames to make things smooth. You do enough of these and you will have a viscous sort of moving reflective layer. I'm calling it frames because each sculpt represents a frame along a timeline where it's being, and that's not the timeline, I don't believe. No, you want to see what the timeline is. Okay, first of all, this is a timeline for this portal. Okay, now you see what's happening is that there's a slight overlap happening barely at each point, so at no point is it like necessarily empty and flashing, but it's blending, kind of like musical notes, I suppose, would be a good metaphor. And you say this is your portal, main portal, right here. And what I'm going to be doing is where you saw what that metal guy was in 2 different stages to basically have the effect of a globular sculpt merging with your character through having basically a duplicate clone of your sculpt devoid of any kind of logic. You don't need the logic in there. There's either a door or a teleport point activated. That's probably why he's freaking out, is because that sculpt's in there. Let's see if it sends me flying out again. Yeah, but in the right direction. Let's turn off the metal geared on here. At what stage is he activated among? I think when he hits that, he becomes. No, that's not it. Are you it? No, you're not it. Are any of you it? No, I don't know. That's that flashing. Oh, that's when it gets brighter. This is activating. That's the rotary lights. That's what causes these. I had a stupid amount of keyframes. I forgot what these are doing. Oh yeah, these are making the rings animate differently in sync with it too, which I could have done in these two. I was just playing with it. You can do stuff in less keyframes. It's all about light animation right there, and so I call it rotary. And this whole thing is style. I was just playing around with. Could be a portal, and you know what's cool about that? In a way, it also kind of emulates a compass, like a high-tech compass, which it could suffice for a same model, but you know, make it more round, which also makes sense for like a Stargate. It's like a compass, making those beams kind of like project. I had more of a notion of having these go faster as you get in here, which is not an issue. You could easily have and there's no reason to get into the complexities of it, but if you wanted to, as you're in that zone, increase the pace of this light, you could do that in a keyframe, which is already at 200. So, and I believe you can manipulate the functions this way through a signal manipulator. And this is what lets you remap certain outputs. This whole area does kind of confuse me, but to my knowledge, this is you do have to flip those for an invert output, and I always have to look back at which one it is because I'm not really sure, to be honest, what this is telling me. All I know is one needs to be 1 and 0 or whatever, and then out invert. I slowly unravel what all this means as I'm looking at it and I'm playing with values, but this is also the same, that would also be the same method when you power that into, let's just, you have to see that moving. Let's just try to make it move the other way real quick, so that's going to power on. We don't want that in the power, we want that in the play ahead. Let's see if this gives us an inverse value that I'm looking for, and if not, then I'll go the other way. I probably did it backwards because I'm a goof. I just stopped it in its tracks, didn't it? Oh, it's not even playing right now because I mess with stuff. Right, so it's powered on right now and all that good stuff. Anyway, I do know how to make that work. I'm really not trying to get too sidetracked. I play with it until it works. Why it works and what I'm trying to do is, yes, I know what I'm trying to do is reverse that when they, invert and all that, just working at the logic in your head and what each gizmo means and what it's doing is just another, this block logic is, mastering that as all amount of learning that language as anything is learning. Like this, coming here, that main light turns on. Let's just go ahead and go ahead and where is it? Where's the dude? Where's Mr. Dude? Where'd he go? He knows I'm trying to delete him, and he's trying to hide from me right now. That's what's happening. Yes, he doesn't want to go. Is it because I can't see you? Because my guy? It is why. Alright. So let's... I'm going to leave Dude alone for now, not that I can't delete him. He's just... he's very in there, for sure. Well, they can get him out. He's in a... It's like I do want to delete you and I don't want to delete you, and it's a pain in the ass to delete you at the same time. So, why don't I freaking... Okay, well, I'm going to leave this up for principle anyway, but I will work out why I can't get into him for some reason. I just don't. Well, there's always this method. Wait till it's active in the thing. And grab your ass out of there. Because you're being a pain in the butt. My tag's on him now, since I don't want to mess with him. But an issue. I don't think there's any other kind of logic I'm doing with him. I really just wanted to see what that looked without him in the way. Definitely should be sound effects, of course, you know, powering up, kind of. And the idea was maybe having little lightning plasma things shoot out towards the center. The rotary thing, the light's kind of moving faster, like kind of a power generation, kind of a sound to it. That's cool in of itself. I mean, as far as neat looking things. But that wasn't really what my intention was, the whole thing with this. So let's back it up. What was I deleting? Oh yeah, okay. Everything is back to seeing as it was. If something catches my eye. The main point. Okay, so we have a shiny thing. We have a metal thing. Okay, so let be keyframe. Yes. Okay. So you can make in a timeline as done, as I showed you in pyramidal structure of this. Each of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There must be something else happening. I don't remember there being 6 sculpts, but there's definitely less happening there than that in particular. Or there is, and it's overlapping in a way that's not friendly. But you can work that out. So this is, say this represents your you have sort of something that's making ripples. You could do that with those text effects, kind of like ripples, growing from center out, painted. There's many ways to do it. Opacity, lights. I haven't even played with what it would look like to have a light shining on here and spinning, which I'm sure would be very, very cool. Yeah, I want my ring back. At least that inner ring. Oh, it's starting to... I guess they'll all be spinning. I like the one that's just kind of hugging the rim for the start, at least. Just one around the rim there. I just played with 2 mini flippity flops. And it's strange that there appears to be 2 because only one is lit up right now. And now none of them are. What is happening? And that's fine. That's the way he wants it. Well, that is just fantastic. That's kind of an interesting dissolve, ain't it? I'm moving. I'm controlling the sphere, and my body is doing what exactly? It's liquefying and going here and there. But I can wow. I don't know why I'm doing that, but it's pretty freaking awesome. Anyway, so back to the soft blending technique. Let be frame. The idea being on a timeline, each one of these, and you can use these to kind of, even if you wanted to, 1, 2, but these are guides, or copy and overlay, but guide, precise move, and this is what you're going to do, is you're going to take, this is specifically for the ripple globular effect, is you're going to take your blend amount, right, and these are cool enough of this mirrored thing, kind of with this blend and coming out of that cube, especially for dimensions of portals kind of coming out, but you're going to take this, right, but for the this part, and maybe really I'm working with a thicker, stretch it out just a little bit, and just stretch it out just a little bit, so we have a little bit more to work with in this. Alright, so we're going to put it in a ripple. Say right as we approach the portal, of course we got that frame 1, so this is frame 1, calling it 1, copy, frame 2, Cream 2. Right? Or maybe because we're just touching it. And what I was doing, actually, I was taking puppet, because we were talking about merging that puppet with it. We have our puppet over there. Now I got to put this in perspective. Alright. We have our puppet over here, which is going to turn off and emit this guy, or just turn him on, his visibility, as he's always here, not movable. Can kill his logic chip for a minute because he's not going to be doing anything. We're going to go into him. We're going to make him metallic first of all. And if you want to select the color of that, a good way to do it is just to go to change him to that color real quick. Go in here. So what I'm doing right now is I'm holding down the center, what do you call that? What's that big button? Where's that button? Touchpad. I click the touchpad, right? Okay. Now I'm able to grab any color I see off the screen, and I can put it into my color wheel. I can clear that. I can grab that and put it in there, and I can work with that color. See how it's telling me what color that is? And so I'm grabbing with R2, putting it in my color wheel. Grab, put it in my color wheel. See how it's doing that? And how you can merge and globs down here. Your color palette. So it's literally your palette, like it's paint. You know, purple, pink, whatever color you want. It's going to blend, kind of. See that together? And then while you're painting, you can spin that. See how it's moving? You can do it fast, you can do it slow. Up here. Next. So as you're sculpting, it's going to give you those colors, or while you're spray painting anything in that fashion. And then you can adjust your soft blends, your opacity if you're dealing with paint, spray paint, and things just really come together themselves. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that this guy is not moving, and why is it that I always forget how to make them still for some reason, even after turning off their movability? This is something I always fumble with for a minute. Well, he's doing his thing. At least he's not moving, following. But yeah, I was going to make this guy color. Let's go back to that. Just grab that same one again. Am I there? You excuse me? I'm not metallic or anything, so we'll see how that goes. We appear to be the same now, right? So I believe I went even so far as to do this, because it don't matter. Not movable, so it's not going to fall apart. This is also how you do that ragdoll thing. Say it is movable and collidable. You admit one of these puppets without the connectors, and they flop all about. Make it collidable with itself. Ungroup it, because you want it grouped, I think, with the ragdoll, but you ungroup it. You put like a force applier to project an outward force from a center, say like in the torso. And emit that, and you got a guy that just explodes to pieces. And anyway, so this now, there's two parts to this animation in theory. Okay, in hypothesis in theory, forgive me for misusing the word. Step into that at this point, say in tandem with your puppet. Let's copy both so they're in line. Right. We're going to look for where it indents, right? Now again, my other portal right now is not up to that. I'm just kind of messing around with the things I'm playing with. Should I keep it, want to do it later, better, but follow the indentation of your puppet. And again, you can stretch these out too, but like as if it was just maybe touching at the knees or wherever that you walked in. Just again, this is an example. My toes are touching. Just barely. So that would be frame 2. Now, in your timeline, there would be two asynchronous things happening because while this bubbling thing is happening in one, which is just the portal, which we're using this guy as a guide for, right? And in say for in this third one, this whole concept's coming together. In each frame, you can now take where these ripples are and then add additional ripples to it where it was, either by taking the invisible parts to it, making it grow where it was, or trying to do it that way and cutting into it, and kind of really play with the rippliness of it. You can get good ones going. Like it's getting bigger, kind of. There's an art to ripples. I'm not saying again I'm not a master, but you can definitely bring it forward, and then I'm going a little bit too drastic. So, and some of it might be by reaching towards your puppet to go stretching out. You see how this globular kind of effect goes out like that slowly. Now, if I want to, just for instance, just for animating that whole, illustrating that purpose. We're taking this whole sculpt, and in this next one, we're taking that shape that we had, and we're going to bring it a little bit forward, you see? And then we're going to do another one, and we're going to bring it a little bit forward. And all we're doing is stop motion animation. That's all we're doing. And a little bit forward. Alright? You see what I'm saying? Maybe not till it breaks. But do that in your ripples, and then also your puppet that we have back here, with another overlaid one of these. You're going to have him slowly doing the same, because you can merge shapes this way. You see? Into the sculpture, and then play with the same way we just played with the stretching. Okay, stretch, and really merge those two different actions together. One of the ripples coming out, and you can have all kinds of bubbling effects happening, going in, going out, adding those cuts, those shapes, morphing them to and fro, back and forth, one going in, one in each of your frames. And it's all going to, as long as you have your ducks in a row, and you can name these 1, 2, 3, you know, keep that separate. As long as you have that separate, you're going to keep that animation in line, and you can span out your animation timeline here. And when you're ready to animate them, you can use emitters and just kind of align them on one on top of each other, or you can do perhaps visibility, which I think I'm starting to favor that, because I think, because in the end, after you have the power off or invisibility, it just depends on what you're doing with it. I have them overlapping, for one. So remember that pyramidal structure? I think that helps from what my observation was, because it's more of a blending rather than... But this is like stop motion, because there'll be one activating and then another activating, but then taking away, and then activating another in a way. So it's like having the combination of the two keyframes in essence, and animation blend. I don't know if that's helping or hindering maybe what I have happening. I'm not an animation expert, but this same principle applies for when you're... I was talking about that flap job method. So instead of having a flap job, blah, 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 you might have... This works for more flesh, for moving flesh, moving sculpts that are able to look like it's actually got like a skin to it. You know, a moving... it's not a hard shape, just like that flap job with you can clearly see the lines and all that. And this will work good, I believe. You know, I like to play around with the basic 2D fighter, because it seems easy enough to make, but then also keeping in mind that it was a game, Clay Fighters from Nintendo 64. I'm just thinking about that one snowman character, and having his arm kind of stretch out, having arms stretch out like that in animations. Like to play with the T1000, kind of merging this with other functions, as well as a Iceman. You know, Iceman having his arms kind of go out to ice and emitting a bridge. Silver Surfer, I guess you would say, you know, and so that he's able to emit that bridge and travel. So in essence, that I have explained what I'm doing. The amount of frames that you put into it, that love into those sculptures is
number of frames, the more smooth you're going to have it. That's the frame rate. So that's what animations is about. Patience. It's like Nightmare Before Christmas. It's just painstaking. Snap, move, snap, move, snap, move. With some of these other animations, you have those built-in functions with those, time with. Doesn't really matter if you're just powering things on and off in a flashy motion like that. It's really more when you're making an action. Those are what those timelines bind that kind of swing together like that. I still kind of knuckle down with them. So anyway, that was the principle behind this whole portal gate thing with soft blend animation, and this will work great for water droplets. So you can get your teardrop kind of going, and then animating something like that. I would like to really see that. I know it's possible. Instead of using paint or other things to make water, this can be a way to do that as well if you have patience. So, if you have tuned in at all, if you watch this video in retrospect, I am a dork. This is things I'm trying out new. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't make money off of this stuff. I like to explain how things work. If you want to make things, create things, I've been spending a lot of my time just realizing how things work. And you can animate this guy to talk. You can record your voice with it, and it'll be a awesome thing for you to have for making anything you want. Make a video game out of it, make an animation out of it, make a music video out of it because you're a musician. You can go realism, you can go cartoony, you can go cute, you can go horror and cool as hell, and you can do all that at a computer again. But again, all these tools are seamless and staring at you in the face, and the game's cheap. There's a vast network of people using it and things that you can use. I do not make money off this game. I am only promoting it in a way where I'm just saying it's more than passive entertainment. It's more than video gaming. It's creation. It's stimulating your brain. There's logic to it, and seeing what people do, just the average Joe, not game developers and just the creative minds out there, wanting to bring this tool to people who have always wanted to do that and don't know about it. Anyway, this has been another episode of nonsense. If this asset is wanted in the community, it's just my sculpt, but it really didn't take long to sculpt. Thinking about maybe turning into like a halo on like a Metatron face that I want to get like her face all in paint, but then like glowing only, opacity like squares, so it's like digital face, like a matrix kind of a face. That'd be cool. Or a compass. Turn this into a compass too. That'd be cool, like a high-tech compass. Or if you like the teleportal, we can go to. See, I wanted to put like Tesla coils on the outside, maybe for one version of a teleport versus a door. So one can maybe just energize you like so, and the other one can blend you into the portal. There's many ways of doing a portal, and then also projecting you into a vortex, either made of sculpt or gadgets like this, as you're going through the camera into a tunnel, which is a great way to kind of simulate interdimensional travel right before you go through your door. Anyway, thank you. You inspire me, everybody. Be well.